So here's a thought to start us off. What if the very thing we all chase, security, certainty, having everything under control, what if that's the actual source of our deepest anxieties?
It's a challenging idea, isn't it?
It really is. We put so much energy into trying to nail down the future, get rid of all the risk, and somehow we just end up more stressed out.
Yeah, it's almost like the harder we grasp for that sense of peace, the more it just slips through our fingers.
Exactly.
And that's precisely the paradox Alan Watts gets into in his 1951 book, The Wisdom of Insecurity, a message for an age of anxiety. It's quite something.
It really is. And it's not just straight philosophy, right?
No, not at all. It pulls from comparative religion, even popular psychology. It offers this really unique way of looking at why we feel so uneasy so much of the time.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. We want to really unpack this amazing book, pull out the core insights.
Figure out why we're so anxious.
And explore Watts's pretty radical solution for it. And just so you know, you're experiencing a unique two-voice AI conversation today, powered by Google's NotebookLM, aiming for a, let's say, deeper, more dynamic analysis of the book.
Right. So Watts basically argues that people back then, mid-20th century, and definitely us now, we feel this incredible anxiety because we're clinging to an illusion.
An illusion of security.
Exactly. Psychological security in a universe that's fundamentally, always changing, always flowing. Nothing's permanent.
He really paints a picture of this widespread cultural malaise, doesn't he? He saw that science was kind of poking holes in the old religious certainties.
Leaving this big vacuum.
Yeah, a void. And Watts said, look, consumerism and political ideologies are rushing in to fill that gap. They become these substitute myths, promising happiness, stability, but externally.
But here's the twist Watts highlights.
Where the catch is tying our happiness to what might happen in the future.
Yeah.
It sets up this constant state of tension, always reaching, never quite arriving.
Precisely. And that tension is just baked into our desire for things to be fixed, for a predictable future. We build this mental picture of security, and then, we exhaust ourselves chasing it.
But reality isn't like that picture at all.
Not according to Watts. It's fluid. It's a process. And trying to grab onto it to make it solid, that's what creates the anxiety. It's like trying to hold water in your fist.
The tighter you squeeze,
The faster it escapes, yeah.
That image really works.
Yeah.
And it sets up what he calls the law of reversed effort. This is maybe his most revolutionary idea.
It's fascinating.
Think about it. The harder you try to fall asleep, the wider awake you feel, right? Or try not to think about a pink elephant.
Impossible.
Exactly. Watts says our search for security is just like that. The more we try to escape insecurity, piling up money, building rigid identities, controlling everything.
The deeper the fear actually gets, it's completely backwards to how we normally think.
Totally counterintuitive.
It's the absolute core paradox of the book. He uses that wonderful analogy. Trying to float makes you sink.
But letting go.
Letting go brings buoyancy, yeah. He insists that seeking control actually leads to losing it. If you're desperately clutching at security, you can't really have it. It's only when you relax the grip
that you find some stability.
Right. And he puts it so bluntly, quoting Watts here, a society based on the quest for security is nothing but a breath retention contest.
Wow. That's such a vivid image, like we're all just holding our breath, waiting for life to be safe instead of just breathing.
Pretty much sums up our modern condition, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so if that applies to security, what about how we relate to time itself? Watts digs into that too, how our very human ability to remember the past and anticipate the future actually makes pain worse.
We get stuck replaying old hurts or worrying about what's coming.
Whereas animals, without that complex sense of past and future, they just are. They're just present. Watts thinks we need to relearn some of that simplicity.
He does. He uses the metaphor of the great stream for reality. Think of a river, always flowing. Our concepts, our labels, good, bad, safe, dangerous, they're like attempts to freeze that flow, to put it in neat boxes.
But you can't box a river.
Exactly. This grasping for static meaning pulls us out of the actual lived experience. Yeah. We end up watching life go by instead of being in it. As Watts said, you cannot walk off with a river in a bucket.
You just can't capture the flow in rigid ideas.
Right.
And he says we do this internally too, not just with the outside world. He talks about the divided mind. The I versus me.
Yes, the observer and the observed.
Yeah, where the ego, the I, looks at the rest of you, the me, like it's separate. And that kicks off all this chronic self-consciousness, this inner conflict, judging ourselves, analyzing, trying to fix things.
It becomes an endless cycle.
Yeah, that great quote. He who would stand outside himself to kick himself, must then kick the self that stands outside. It just goes on and on.
It's such a sharp insight into how we create so much of our own suffering. So from that diagnosis, Watts points towards trusting our organic intelligence, meaning the body's natural wisdom, how it heals, how it digests, how it just works without our conscious meddling. He suggests that this self-regulating intelligence is way smarter than our anxious egos.
And he extends that to society too, right?
He does. He argues societies function best when they're not constantly micromanaged by fear, but allowed to evolve more naturally, like an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Less top-down control, more organic growth.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we get out of the head and into this flow?
Well, he talks about the marvelous moment. That's the practical entry point. It's about shifting focus to now.
Just being present.
Yes. When we stop living purely for some future goal, life stops being a struggle and becomes more like he calls it a marvelous dance. He invites you, the listener, to really taste to the full, whether pleasure or pain.
Experience what's actually happening without fighting it.
Exactly. Allow life to flow. Because, as Watts put it, tomorrow and plans for tomorrow can have no significance at all unless you are in full contact with the reality of the present. The future only matters if you're alive now.
That really lands. It shifts everything from a struggle to maybe acceptance.
That's a good way to put it, acceptance of the present reality. You know, as we're diving into all this, you might be thinking about your own life, and that's great. That's the whole point.
Absolutely.
And actually, if you find these kinds of insights helpful, we explore similar ideas on our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments. It features more AI book analysis, really designed to spark that kind of reflection and clear thinking.
Good to know. So Watts doesn't shy away from the bigger topics either, like morality, religion.
Mm-hmm.
He applies this same core idea, this paradox.
He does. He argues that, maybe controversially, striving for spiritual perfection, trying really hard to be good or enlightened, actually gets in the way.
It's that reversed effort again.
Exactly. It's the effort that creates the tension. Instead, he suggests that surrender, letting go of the striving, is what allows for real transformation to happen spontaneously. It's less about doing spiritual practices rigidly and more about being open to what is.
So what does that mean for ethics, for morality?
That leads to his idea of creative morality. He's not advocating for chaos, but for a kind of situational, compassionate ethics.
Meaning it depends on the context.
Yes, it emerges naturally from being present and aware, rather than just blindly following a fixed set of rules. It's about responding to the actual situation with compassion, not just ticking boxes from a moral code.
Because life isn't a set of rules.
Right. As he said, life requires no future to complete itself, nor explanation to justify itself. It just is complete in each moment.
And how does he handle religion, God, salvation? Things usually framed as future goals or states.
He radically reinterprets them, not as promises for later or abstract ideas, but as realities you can experience right now.
So religious symbols like God or heaven.
They should point you towards engaging with this moment, towards direct experience, not just be like magical guarantees for something down the road. It's about immediate lived reality.
It's quite a shift in perspective. You can see how he drew on so many different traditions.
Oh, absolutely. His thinking is so rich. He pulls from Zen Buddhism, from Vedanta, Taoism, but he weaves it together with very Western concerns about, meaninglessness, existential dread.
He was definitely a bridge figure, wasn't he? Especially in the 60s counterculture.
A crucial counterculture bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
He helped a whole generation question the status quo by offering these alternative ways of seeing things.
And looking back, his insights seem incredibly relevant now, almost prophetic.
His foresight was remarkable. Think about it. He was talking about anxiety being caused by getting lost in time, past regrets, future worries, and this split in the mind, the ego watching itself.
Long before mindfulness became a clinical buzzword.
Decades before, and now we have studies showing meditation, which is all about present moment awareness, actually reduces distress. He was way ahead of the curve on the mind-body connection.
And his critique of society.
Yeah.
That collective breath holding.
Still spot on. He saw how consumerism sold these fantasies of security, trapping people in jobs and debt, creating this widespread societal neurosis, always striving for a future that never quite arrives.
And that feels even more intense today with digital media, information overload.
Absolutely. It just amplifies the insecurity, gives us new ways to hold our breath, digitally speaking. It's no wonder his ideas still resonate. You see his quotes everywhere online, podcasts, videos. He speaks to our time.
So let's make this really practical for listeners.
Yeah.
What are some concrete things people can take away from Watts and actually use in their daily lives?
Okay, yeah. There are definitely some practical exercises inspired by him. One is to really feel that breath reversal idea in your body.
Like the floating analogy.
Exactly. Imagine you're in shallow water. Tense up, try hard to float, you probably sink or struggle. Relax, let go, you become buoyant. Apply that feeling to moments of anxiety. Maybe don't fight it so hard, just notice it.
Okay, that's one. What else?
Another simple one, a present moment check-in. Maybe set a quiet timer on your phone for once an hour. When it goes off, just pause and ask, what's actually happening right now? What sensations are here? Just observe, see, hear, feel.
Just interrupting the mental chatter, the future tripping.
Precisely. It pulls you back. And a third idea, maybe a bit deeper, try keeping a creative morality journal.
How would that work?
In the evening, maybe reflect on a tricky situation or dilemma you faced. Instead of just applying rigid shoulds or shouldn'ts, explore what a truly compassionate response might have looked like in that specific moment, trusting your gut feeling, your innate sense of kindness, rather than just rules.
Those are really useful, and you can see the connections to modern life, can't you? Like recognizing endless productivity as maybe another form of that breath holding.
Totally. It could help us tackle burnout, find a more sustainable pace, maybe even enjoy the work itself by being in it, not just rushing to the next thing.
And his critique of mental noise definitely supports things like taking insecurity sabbaticals, plan digital detoxes.
Right, stepping away from the constant stimulation to let the mind settle naturally, reconnecting with ourselves without the noise.
And his whole framing of anxiety, it really fits with modern acceptance-based therapies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Learning to make space for difficult feelings instead of constantly battling them.
It aligns perfectly. It's about changing our relationship to the anxiety, not necessarily eliminating it entirely.
So boiling it all down, Watts's core message, maybe his most provocative point, is that real freedom, real peace, it only comes when we stop the frantic search for security.
Exactly. Surrender the quest. Because the very drive to be safe is what makes us feel fundamentally unsafe inside.
It's that paradox again. Like you said, to hold your breath is to lose your breath.
He encourages us to actually befriend uncertainty, to lean into the flow of life instead of resisting it. And in that acceptance, that's where we find a kind of spaciousness, a freedom.
And maybe even the simple joy of just being here now.
That's the heart of it. So the question for you listening now is, in this world of ours, economic ups and downs, climate worries, algorithms trying to predict everything, what does Watts's message about embracing insecurity mean for you?
That's definitely something to reflect on. And if you want to keep exploring these kinds of challenging, transformative ideas, do check out Mindful Moments on YouTube and, of course, our podcast and more analyses like this one.
Yeah, please subscribe if you find this valuable. Share it with someone you think might get something from Watts's perspective.
And if you want to go deeper into this book, consider picking up The Wisdom of Insecurity. We'll put a link in the description. But most importantly, really think critically about these ideas. Don't just accept them, wrestle with them.
Absolutely.
Maybe the final thought to leave you with, building on Watts, is this. Perhaps true freedom isn't actually the absence of fear at all, but rather the freedom from the fear of fear itself.